I hope I'm catching you right before you launch your group coaching program so that I can save you from making some of the mistakes that I've made in the past. So watch this video if you're ready to learn some tips and tricks and secrets about running and launching your group coaching program successfully. Group coaching is a fantastic way to leverage your time, make more money without making more work for yourself. When I shifted to a group coaching business model, it was a total game changer. It shot my income up by more than 3 times in 1 year. However, it also shot up my stress level because I was not prepared for how to lead a group coaching program. That is why I'm making this video. I want to share with you 5 key things that I hope you'll do before you launch your program to make it more graceful, more easy, more prosperous, and more long-lasting. Now, the first thing I want to address before I share with you my 5 things is one big paradigm shift that maybe you've already made, but just in case you haven't, this is the time to have it. And that is that people often assume that a group coaching program has to be cheaper than one-on-one. They assume that because it's in a group, it's less valuable. There's this belief, and I had it totally, which is that there's a hierarchy, and one-on-one coaching is at the highest of the hierarchy. Like, it's the best kind of coaching you can get, and it's the most expensive coaching you can sell. And then down from there is group coaching, and then down from there is virtual, do-it-yourself courses and things like that. That is a mistake, in my opinion. I always thought that. The problem with that belief is it's based on you pricing for your time rather than you pricing for outcomes. What I mean by that is that it is my opinion, and it has been my experience, not only in my own coaching business, but also working with clients who are leading coaching businesses, that a group program can actually be way more valuable than a one-on-one coaching program. And why is that? It's because groups, when they're well-led, and that's what we're going to talk about here, they create a culture, and that culture can often accelerate results even more than a one-on-one relationship can. And that's because of how we're wired as humans. We humans are wired to want to fit in with the tribe or fit in with the in crowd. We want to belong. And in fact, it is a life-threatening problem if we feel like we don't belong, at least to our limbic reptilian old brain of 200,000 years ago. We are literally wired to want to be in the group, right? So if we create a group culture where people are performing, and we create a group culture where people are accelerating progress, where people are contributing, where they are achieving, where they are succeeding, then it's more likely that the people that are in that culture, the individuals, just by virtue of being there, will have better outcomes and results. So there's a lift that happens in the group that you would have to do by yourself. It's like what they say, a rising tide lifts all boats. If you can lift the tide by creating a group culture that's firing on all cylinders, there's a lot less work for you to do. It's an easier lift, and people get better results. Now, the caveat to that is that it takes something to lead a culture. It takes something to build a culture. And so I'm not going to dive deeply into that in this video. I do want to just put that paradigm out there that group does not have to be way cheaper than one-on-one, or it doesn't have to be cheaper at all. It can be more expensive. And I say that because the kind of group program we're going to design here is one that is a high-ticket, high-value offering. Now, before I dive into my 5 things, I do want to invite you to please like this video and subscribe to my channel. So the first thing you want to do when designing the group program is who are the people in the program. It is the biggest, most important decision that you'll make is who you are going to invite in and how you curate those people into the group. So what that looks like is, rather than marketing down to clients, marketing up to clients. What do I mean by that? Well, I've had this experience in the earlier stages of my business where I was marketing down to clients. And what that looked like was I'm the expert. I have all the answers. You need me. You are somehow less than I am. This is a very common marketing tactic. It's a common marketing energetic that exists. It permeates the coaching industry. And I didn't realize I was doing it. I wasn't doing it on purpose. I certainly wasn't doing it consciously. But this is how marketing sounds when we're marketing down. You have a problem. You don't know how to fix this problem. You're in pain because of this problem. I have the answers to this problem. Come learn from me. I am the amazing guru. That is the energetic that a lot of coaching marketing happens from that marketing down. Now, what I'm proposing to create a group that uplifts people, that's worth a lot of money and that creates amazing outcomes, is to market up to people. In other words, to market to people as their best and highest self. You are a superstar. You have a dream. You have possibilities that you want to bring to life. Let's connect and let's explore how you can make that happen, right? So this is an elevated marketing strategy rather than a de-elevated marketing strategy. So that's the first thing, is marketing up to those clients who are already winning, who are already succeeding, who are already doing well, so that you can enroll them into your culture and you can have a group of people who are firing on all cylinders and helping each other. The second thing is to focus on, rather than the production, meaning all the nuts and bolts of your program, really focusing on the outcomes that it's generating, the outcomes that you're committed to generating, focusing on what is on the other side of the transformation that you are leading them through as a group. Once you're clear about the outcomes, that'll give you a sense of what that's worth to somebody. If you get caught up in the number of calls that you're going to deliver and what the format is and how many events, you've lost sight of the reason why people invest in the program, and you run the risk of underpricing the program. My advice is focus on those elevated outcomes and then look at what's the value of those outcomes, and using that to create your program pricing, which is number 3, creating your packages and your pricing based on those elevated outcomes. So you're targeting a high-end audience who is an uplifted audience. You're designing the program based on the outcomes that they want, the possibilities, and then you're pricing it and structuring the package to generate those outcomes. You're not packaging it based on how many calls you're available for each month or how many calls you're willing to do. You're creating the package based on what's going to achieve that outcome. And in my opinion, and in my experience, usually you can achieve those outcomes with less work and less time, and by activating that culture that you're building. The fourth thing is your enrollment process. Now, again, in the old paradigm of building a coaching program, it was all about high pressure sales, getting people to say yes, enrolling whoever is interested. In this newer paradigm, my recommendation is the process that I call sales as service, where basically you only enroll people that you know that this program will serve and who you believe will serve the program. You are curating this culture, remember? Something that I run into a lot with clients is their resistance to create 1-year-long agreements. I have found that by having people make a minimum of a year commitment and sometimes a 2-year commitment, people are way more invested in the program. They show up more, they add more value, they're more generous, and they contribute more. So my advice is to make the commitments longer and more serious. And I do recommend having a written agreement and having a written contract, because that's going to help create a much more committed culture. And then the last piece is be willing and flexible and open to listening to these incredible people, to what they need, what's next for them, right? Staying attuned to what's evolving, what's developing. In a group of people that's so dynamic, so creative, so generous, so high achieving, you're going to have them start to pull the program forward. Now, you have to maintain that leadership, and you can't be deaf and blind to what's being called for. You want to be flexible, adaptable, and open while maintaining that leadership role. And that means every year at least, but every year especially, looking at the program and reorganizing it, realigning the agreements and the standards and the procedures in order to elevate the program and move toward the next level. If you are interested in leading your own group coaching program, or if you already have one and you want to up level it, you want to make the culture more sustainable, you want people to stay longer, you want to retain your clients, you want to make more money, you want to feel more fulfilled, then I can help. Check out the way I work at superstarbusinessbreakthrough.com. And if you're interested, you can click the button there and sign up to have a conversation with me.